Good morning. Happy Monday. Welcome to Hobby Evolution. Episode I lost track of the number. I think it's 433. It's on the title. Good morning. Jenny says it's a cold Monday in Minnesota. Feels like -14. We are heading that direction. We're not quite there yet. It is extremely windy though. We're getting that same wind. I think here is still in the 20s. So that I think our wind chill is in the single digits, but we are hitting. I think our overnight low is like 8 above 0, which all of a sudden, because yesterday it was so warm, it was windy yesterday, but it was warm enough that if it wasn't windy, actually raining, it wasn't as windy yesterday. It was more. If it wasn't raining, I could have taken my dog for a walk. It was that usually like the 35 is kind of the cutoff when it's like, okay, too cold to go for a walk. Walk the dog. Yeah, overnight lows the next 2 nights, 8 degrees above 0. So it's getting cold, and it's like I saw the temperature something on popped up on my alerts, and it said you're gonna see -degree wind chills overnight or in 2 nights, and it's like what? It was 40 degrees today. It's December in the upper Midwest. That's what we get. So what's up? Good morning. Happy Monday. Back to it. Looking forward. I had a low key weekend. No card shows. Um, no family in town. No dinners. It was kind of lonely. It's just me and my wife and our dog. But I did, and I think Ken will be the only person that appreciates this. But I did watch NXT War Games last night. So, which is wrestling. NXT is kind of, it used to be like the WWE kind of like minor league system. It was basically the training center, but now it's kind of like a full-fledged wrestling federation. Um and so and some of the names are there, and so I was kind of loosely watching it. But I was really into the main event, actual War Games match. And For those that remember 90s wrestling, Rick Steiner's son is now wrestling by the name of Braun Breaker. So was able to, I think that was the first match I caught of him because I don't watch NXT much. I am not a fan of the current WWE product. And there's been some like angles and some things that I like. And I think that has Bruce Pritchard's touch because he's back with the WWE. But overall, it just every time I tune into Raw or a pay-per-view, it's like this sucks. And when I do tune into NXT, it's like, hey, this is much different than the actual WWE product. So I was pleasantly surprised with last night's War Games, and it was fun to watch. It was nice to get away from cards for a little bit because I've just kind of been all consumed in cards lately. Amazing weekend at the card show. eBay will be getting lots of low serial number cards today. Very cool. Jenny was at a card show. Zach was at a card show. Brad was at a card show. I wasn't. Maybe next weekend. What's up, Zach? Good morning to you. St. Nick brought Porter a hanger of 2021 update. Teeny mates at Jenny, I put your cards in the mail. Sweet. That's cool. So glad that you guys enjoyed the card shows again next weekend. I may or may not be at the Rockford card show. I've got the Club 400 Christmas party Friday night, so just depends on how late I sleep in, how I feel from imbibing at the Christmas party. We'll see if I make a stop at the Rockford card show. Otherwise, I don't see myself going to a card show until the next Rockford show, which will be, I think, January, the second weekend in January. So we'll see how that goes. What's up, Herman? Good morning. Diego's with us. Good morning, guys. Um, so yeah, so about all I had. So this weekend was basically just shipping. I did some sorting, did some organizing on my eBay store inventory. Um, Today I'm gonna get some more listings hammered down. Man, eBay sales are way down. All of the metrics are down. I know it's December. It's the worst month, and I've talked about it leading into the month. I was expecting this, but still, when you look at the numbers, I just get a pit in my stomach. So I've just gotta bulldog it the next few weeks, get out of December, and we'll pick things up in January, and hopefully there's not a lockout that lingers spring training or much through the month of January, so we can see those baseball cards and sales pick up. Speaking of baseball, burying one of the leads, the Hall of Fame, the Veterans and Golden Age committees were announced yesterday. So I'm going to Google it real quick because I may not remember all of the names. I was a little surprised at the number of Hall of Famers that were announced that will be going into the class of 2022. Um, I was expecting at least two. I knew at least two would get in, but I think six was a little more than I was expecting. I thought it would be like maybe four, three or four. I thought was a number. Buck O'Neil. Buck O'Neil was like out of the class that were up for nomination. Buck O'Neil was number one that he's got to get in. The rest of the names on the list, it was kind of like, yeah, they're Gil Hodges is like, I mean, there's always got to be like in baseball, the batting average, they call it the Mendoza line. There's got to be a line in the Hall of Fame. Like you draw the line, like there's always going to be the best player that is not Hall of Fame worthy. There's always going to be a line. And it's like, I feel like as we move along into the further we move along, that we're just moving that line. And it's almost like we get nostalgic, like, oh, well, yeah, this 40 years ago he wasn't a Hall of Famer, but now all of a sudden he is. And I get it. There are exceptions where guys should have been elected a long time ago, like Buck O'Neil, perfect example. But I just feel like that line is moving, where it's like the Hall of Very Good and the Hall of Fame, and it's like, well, he's the best guy not in, so we have to put him in, and I just feel like that line continues to move. I don't want to poo poo on these players getting elected, so I'll leave it there, and let's celebrate the six that we're in. So, Buck O'Neil, Gil Hodges, and Gil Hodges has always been like one of the top players that's almost there. Minnie Minoso, well deserved on Minnie Minoso as well. Tony Oliva and Jim Katt, a couple of former Minnesota Twins, and Bud Fowler. So those are the six uh, that are in. Dick Allen fell one vote shy. Dick Allen, another similar along the pages of Gil Hodges, where he's just right on that line. So we already have six that will be going in next summer, and I think we'll add a couple more. I think we'll add two more to next year's class with the writers' vote. I think Alex Rodriguez. Well, actually, no, I don't think Alex Rodriguez gets in first ballot. I think David Ortiz gets in first ballot. But I think Bonds, Clemens, Schilling, I think they all miss. A Rod's gonna miss. So I can see David Ortiz, and we can go to Ryan Thibodeau. If you're not following Ryan Thibodeau, if you're at least somewhat interested in the Baseball Hall of Fame, Ryan Thibodeau, which is not Mr. Tibbs on Twitter. Let me just give you the link. So great Twitter follow. He tracks all of the votes that are made public. And I think there's only six or maybe eight that and there's been some while and he posts the ballots, when the writers release so there's nine. Adam Rubin was the ninth. Um so has he given an update? So with eight ballots revealed, the only players with 75% or more were Scott Rowland and Kurt Schilling right at 75%. A-Rod was at 37.5% along with Ortiz. So maybe Ortiz doesn't get in. So I could see, I mean, eight ballots represents about 2% of the Hall of Fame vote. I could see two players get in. I could see zero players get in. So it's interesting to see some of the writers' votes and like why Bonds not Clemens, why Clemens not Bonds. You're not putting in this guy, but you're putting in that Omar Vizquel. Like he was in the news for domestic violence recently. There's a lot of like just kind of double standards. Like, well, I'm not gonna vote in this guy, but I'm gonna vote in this guy. I'm not gonna vote in this guy because of steroids, but yet I'm gonna vote this guy in, and he used steroids. I don't get it. Um, Many of these writers do like write articles explaining it is, but that's the strategy is list in the month of December, and not taking time off in January, but having hopefully just a mountain of sales, and I'll just be shipping all January. Um, let's see. Diego spent an hour in a dime box thinking I am bargain box Diego. Dime box Diego. Herman says going to post the last two spots and going as soon as they fill. Very cool. Fall Creek Collectibles. Good morning to you. Harold Baines induction started it all. Yeah, I think you're right. I think once Harold Baines was elected to the Hall of Fame, it really opened it up to, well, if Baines is in, this guy's in, and it's kind of an avalanche. The Dime Boxers, let's see. Zach says if Ortiz gets in and Bonds doesn't, then that is trash. Yeah, and actually, Zach, so looking in, I thought differently here. Through eight ballots, Bonds is at 62.5%, and Ortiz is only at 37.5%. So I thought Ortiz would get some votes. The ninth ballot that was not counted in those statistics by Adam Rubin. He has both Bonds and Ortiz, along with Clemens and Manny and A-Rod. And Sammy Sosa's left off so many ballots. It's like this ballot. It's like, okay, there's 10 players, but he's got Omar Vizquel instead of Sammy Sosa. Like, I don't why Sosa has over 600 home runs, and you can't use the steroid argument in this case because he's got Bonds, Clemens, Ortiz, Manny, A-Rod. And he has Gary Sheffield off. His ballot is Bonds, Clemens, Helton, Andrew Jones, Ortiz, Manny, A-Rod, Roland, Schilling, and Omar Vizquel. And it's like, I just don't get some of the ballots. Just don't get it. I just don't get it. Let's see. Diego says I was sad about Allen, but maybe next year Roland and Dick Allen. Well, Dick Allen's got to wait, I think, 5 years. So these committees only come up like every 5 years. So I'm not, and it might be 10 years. So the next committee is, I'm not sure what the next committee is, but I think it's 5 years before his name will get back on. Says that is your problem about not going to a card show, and we're freezing here in Texas, high of about 50 today, right? Jenny would love the 50 degrees. Best card show find this weekend, 4,800 used but good condition card savers for $100. Very nice. Let's see. How's Texas in the 50s and Georgia in the mid 60s? You guys, stop bragging. Stop bragging about your warm weather. Let's see. Rich says if you have listened to our first baseman not in the Hall of Fame, Hodges was the one guy I thought should be in the Hall of Fame, and Buck should have been in many years ago. Baseball needs to have a contributor way to get into the Hall of Fame. I totally agree. Buck O'Neil should have been in as in some regard. He was the number one in the number one. The rest and Gil Hodges played long before me. So I mean, some of these, it's like, yeah, I can look at the numbers, but yeah, Buck O'Neil totally should have been in a long time ago. And I think, the reason those names were even up for debate was because they, are Hall of Fame quality, if not, Hall of Fame quality or near Hall of Fame quality. So, um, let's show off some Cubs cards. I had several boxes over the last couple of weeks that were piling up. The updated Cubs count 731,753. Um, the number took a significant jump because of the Chicago Sports Spectacular. I added over 11,000 cards, Cubs cards from the Spectacular 2 weeks ago. The Santa Claus collector from Nebraska, he had 10,000 for me. Will likely have another 10,000 for me in March. And then I bought an 800 count box, and then a bunch of dime box and quarter box Cubs. So those 10,000, and then Joseph from Twitter sent me 4,328. I got a box of over 1,000 from Josh. There was some really cool stuff, and I kind of these. I know Eric sent this one, so Eric sent a box of about 100 Cubs cards, including this cool. I think this is. I get some of these brands confused. Topps Triple Threads, Jake Arrieta relic, and this is numbered to 18, numbered 10 out of 18. It's a jumbo relic from 2017 Triple Threads. Awesome card. Let's see, and let's see. Let's go to a junk wax era, and so I love kind of the quirky and not. I love printing errors, miscuts. I love those type of things. I love gum stains. So this is one that I don't know what you call. I'm not into graphic design, but I think maybe like bleed, which would match the color. So the ink on this one went heavy on the red. So Les Lancaster looks like he's really mad. Super red, a lot of red, and you can kind of see it. I don't know if you can see it on the camera, but it even bleeds into the Cubs at the very top. So a lot of red. So I thought that was a cool card. It's like, whoa, his face is super red. A card that I didn't know existed, had never seen one before. And it was Nomar Garciaparra, and I'm like, well, most of his cards are with the Red Sox, but he did well. He was on the DL for a lot of his Cubs stint, but he did ups for parts of two seasons. This is some type of gold card, but he is with Chicago, so it's with his Chicago days. Never seen this. It's a Major League Baseball laser line gold card. Can hardly see it 'cause it's all gold on the back, but I've never seen that card, so that's a. Oh, I've got singles of these, but I don't have a sealed pack. So these are star cards. This is a Mark Grace set. I believe there's 12 cards, 11 plus a checklist. So those are cool. Orange bordered star cards. I think I have a Wade Boggs sealed set and a Jose Canseco sealed set of star, but that's my first Mark Grace. I should have piggybacked this with Les Lancaster. 90, and it's a star miscut Greg Maddux. And I'm not sure who he's miscut with, maybe a San Francisco Giant, but 90 Fleer. I have a lot of 90 Fleer miscuts. There were a lot of miscuts in 90 Fleer, so I love that. Let's do some vintage. Speaking of Hall overdue, Ronnie Santo, Deckle Edge from 69. Very cool card. Love these cards. This is a TCMA from the 60s. Greatest players of the 1960s. These were made in, I think, 1978. And then a vintage 1965 Topps. I love 65 Topps because of the pennants. It's a beater. It's well loved. Ron Santo. And a guy who I interact with on Twitter, who was a top Cubs prospect in the 90s. Great guy, Brooks Kieschnick. Brooks Kieschnick. You can follow him on Twitter, Quiche23 on Twitter. So this is the museum collection. I love the just like it has a superfractor feel to it. These are museum collection parallels from Pinnacle Parallels from 1994. But that's not all. It's an autographed Brooks Kieschnick. And he, by the way, is a great TTMer. Brooks Kieschnick signs a lot through the mail. He's a great dude. We interact on Twitter. He actually verified I bought a game used bat, a Brooks Kieschnick game used bat off eBay. Before I bid on it, I showed him the picture, and he did verify, yes, that is one of my bats. So Brooks Kieschnick. Awesome stuff. So how many? I think I added, I don't know what the count was, but it pushed me over 731,000, closing in on 732,000. So the Cubs collection continues. Just kind of more of a side collection now, as I'm focused on listing. I'm doing that full time. But somebody asked me, do I have a card in mind for the millionth? Yes, I do. There are a couple that I have in mind. I'm just going to keep that to myself right now. But if you've listened to this show over the past 433 episodes, I've dropped a lot of hints as to what that 1 millionth card. It may not be that specific one. It just all depends on what's on the market. So when I get close to 1 million, when do I expect to hit 1 million? Right now, based on projections, I think I'll hit 1 million around the time of the National in 2023, which is back in Chicago at Rosemont. So that would be really cool. That's when I would want to reach 1 million. I would like it to coincide with the National. But I do have I have some guys that have a lot of bulk for me. So depending on how many they have for me, it could speed up the process, and maybe it comes late next year. But still over 250,000 away. So that, based on projections, should put me summer of 2023, and would be really cool to have it coincide with the National, because if I'm at the National looking for the 1 millionth card, that's the best place to find what I'm looking for, or anything. I want it to be special, rare. So that's the place to be to find that. So, and it would be a lot better. And that's kind of the goal. I want to buy the 1 millionth card at a show. I don't want to buy it on eBay. I don't want it to be a mail day, despite most of the other Cubs cards coming in via mail. I want the 1 millionth to be special, and happen at the National in 2 years in Chicago. So that's my hope. Jenny loves the triple threads, low numbers, especially because common guys you can find cheap on the Bay. Absolutely. Zach picked up a Fisk triple thread serial card in a dime box. Zach loves the dime boxes. If that is miscut with Jose Uribe, then you just passed Elon in net worth. Whoops, I missed which National. 2023 National, which will be back in Chicago. Zach says you should have a party when you do. Cool event. I've talked about that from Club 400. We want to have a million card party to celebrate the occasion at like my own personal Disneyland, Club 400, which I'll be at the Christmas party on Friday. Jenny says, Bo, can you reserve approximately 5 tables for the April Madison show? I'm working details with a couple local collectors. Absolutely. We can do a trade night. I can, if we have enough interest. Typically, and here's the thing about trade nights at local shows, they don't work because everybody comes to the show and does all of their trading at the show. But when trade nights do work, it's big events like the Dallas Card Show, the National, weekend shows where people are from out of town and they don't have anything to do. So if you have out of towners coming in, I think we could make that work, because it'll be an event. Although Madison in April is, well, it's still kind of cold in April. but yeah, we could make that work. We'd have to find some space because next year the contract. This year it was kind of free game. Like I had the whole floor for the whole day and night. But now they're and that was got that pricing, got that COVID pricing for 2021. So for 2022, they kept my pricing intact, which was awesome. But there's, it's not as lenient where the show is going to end an hour earlier, which it typically ends at 1, 2 o'clock anyway, where it's kind of a trickle. So ending the show at 2, out of the room by 3, and then so they can have evening events. So don't have access to the room for the evening, but might be able to work something out if they don't have anything else going on. I might be able to make that happen, but we can talk more about that as we get closer. So the next Madison show is in January. No December show. January 29th is our next Madison card show at the Sheraton Hotel on John Nolan Drive. That schedule is set in stone for the entirety of 2022. It is on the Beckett calendar as well. MadisonCardShow.com, Madison Card Show on Twitter. Calendar is on Beckett on the card show calendar. If you're looking for card shows, and I've mentioned this before, go to Beckett.com, go to the card show calendar. That's probably the best way to find the most card shows in one place and in one website. There are some other websites that do card show calendars, but I think Beckett kind of has the best calendar. I think it's all encompassing just because Beckett's been doing a card show calendar for how long? 40 years. Rich can help me on that. Probably since Beckett, the Beckett Monthly began in 1983, 84. So Beckett.com card show calendar, best spot to find card shows. So yeah. And Jenny, thank you. Got it linked up. Trading Card Database has a card show calendar as well. So yeah, there's some I know there's an Instagram account with card shows. There's a Facebook group. So they're out there. So that's what I had for today. Thanks for tuning in. Enjoy your Monday. I'm not sure if Brad's going live. I hope so, because he was at the Dallas Card Show this weekend. So check out Brad, Texas Card Dude, Herman and Kin tonight, 7 p.m. Central on 3B Collections YouTube channel. Hobby Hotline tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Central. So check all those shows out as well. Have a great Monday, and we'll chat tomorrow.